Welcome to Consultant's Corner. I'm Rebecca Brizi. This is my corner. I am a consultant. When I was little, I was big into New Year's resolutions. Then a little bit later in life, I moved on to New Year's goals. So even if I failed on my resolutions by the 23rd of January, I could still recoup to work towards a goal. But eventually, I moved on to New Year's habits. And finally, I removed the New Year's altogether and just focus on habits. And all of this was an exploration in how to achieve change. Because change doesn't happen when you change. Change happens when you change habits. This is one of the weaknesses of traditional New Year's resolutions. And if they work for you as you're doing them, keep doing them as you're doing them. But often you get a lot of, my New Year's resolution is to exercise more. More than what? And what exercise? And when will you do it? Just saying I will exercise more doesn't say anything about the habit that you have to create and the one that you have to change. With this build a habit approach, you would instead say something more like, do 45 minutes of toning exercises 3 times a week before 8 a.m. It's not a target, you're building a habit. The habit of doing 45 minutes of toning exercises 3 times a week before 8 a.m. And if you miss a week, then you haven't missed a target. You're just learning a new habit. You give yourself grace until it becomes a habit, because once it becomes a habit, it's a habit. Habits are easy. But this is a small business channel, so what does all of this have to do with small business? In small businesses, if you build resolutions, you will have 2 types of resolutions: new project or new habit. If your New Year's business resolutions list looks like this: delegate more, learn a new skill, network more, improve calendar management, set better goals, then consider a reworking. For example, delegate more is a project. You have to do the delegation, and then once that's done, it's done. As a resolution, that should look more like reassign particular responsibilities to somebody else in your team. First, figure out what those responsibilities are, figure out to whom you will reassign them, why those particular ones to that particular person, and then the process of training the new person on what they're expected to do. Learn a new skill is also a project, and I'd always take it further too, because it's not just about learning the new skill, it's about using that skill. If your new skill is a coding language, then the resolution might be build 2 microsites using this new coding language that you currently don't know. And you would have to include what the coding language is, how you're going to learn it, so where are you training, and what is the purpose of those 2 microsites. Networking more is a habit resolution. It's something that you want to start doing and then continue doing. So you're changing your ongoing habits. That might look something like volunteer on the board of an association that is in the industry of my clients. And it would have to include picking the association, checking out more than one, criteria to decide which one to join. Improving calendar management is also a habit resolution. That might look like fix a weekly routine for when I have meetings, the time I need to prepare and follow up those meetings, and the time for insert other weekly obligations. I start with meetings because meetings tend to be the biggest interruption, so factor those in. And set better goals. How do we make that a better resolution? How about assign metrics to all the different efforts in this business? What are we doing? Why are we doing it? How do we know when it's successful? What do we see? What are we measuring? That is the starting point for session goals, is looking at what you're doing now and then deciding how to improve that based on those metrics. These are a few examples of relatively common business resolutions. What are the business resolutions you are making, that you are writing down? Take a closer look at them and get specific. It shouldn't be just one line. It should be a whole explanation of how it's going to happen. And it should take into account that these things are a process, not just an activity. So what is the time required to either complete the project or develop the new habit? And remember that doing this in January is great. So is doing it in March or in May or in October. Do this whenever you feel the need to refresh your business or to take a more critical look or just to bring in something new. And I'll see you back here next week for our end of year wrap up. Bye now.